Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is YAHMAD. So in this video we will continue on with paper 2 from the ICT IGCSE course. We are doing the October-November 2021 paper. Paper 2 is a practical paper which includes document production, data manipulation, mail merge and presentations, and it's 2 hours and 30 minutes long. So if you check out the previous video, I've completed the document production part and we are now going to start the data manipulation part in this video. Okay, so let's go down to page, I think it's page 6, task 3 database. Okay, so you're now going to prepare some reports based on assessment results. Dates are to be imported in the format of day, month and year, so that's a British format. Okay, so before we get started guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my source folder, I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a new database file. You can give it any name you want that's suitable, so 2021 is fine. And then you can double click to open up this database file. I've got the evidence document from the previous task open as well. Whoops, let's go back to it. Enable content. Yeah, so as I was saying, I've got the evidence document from the previous task ready as well. Okay, so what do we need to do? So for question 17, using a suitable database package, import the file N212, so let me say that again, N2102trainee.csv, using the field names and data types as shown. So remember, the birth date needs to be formatted or imported in the format shown here, date, month and year. So to import the CSV file, you need to click on external data. For some people you can click on text file here. I need to click on new data source from file and then text file. And then go to your source folder, and locate the CSV file. So it's probably better if I just click on details. And what's the name of the file? Trainee.csv. So this is the file. You press OK. Next. Okay, so when you get to this point here, click on first row contains field names, because you can see family name, first name, trainee number, these are field names, and then underneath you have different records. So each person is a record. Then if you go to advanced, you need to make sure the date is in the correct order, so day, month and year. Okay, and double check the data types. Everything else should be text apart from birth date. Yeah, short text, that's fine. Next, and let's select the primary key. So set the trainee underscore NO field as a primary key. So this field will contain a unique record. For each record, so this will contain unique data for each record. So each person will have a unique trainee underscore number. Okay, right, next, finish. So when you open up the table, you can have a quick look, check the date, is it in the right format? It looks right to me. You can go to design view. You can see the primary key has been set to this field here. So save the data, and then for evidence 4, place in your evidence document a screenshot showing the primary key, field names and data types used in the table. So it's really important guys, we do screenshot the right thing. So this is a screenshot that we need to take. Let me use the snipping tool again. It's up to you guys how you prefer to take your screenshots. So let me paste in a screenshot here. Make sure it's nice and clear. If you want to resize it to make it more obvious, showing the primary key, field names, the data types, then you can do. So let me save the changes here. And let me save the changes in my database file. Okay, so that's the first table imported. Now what we need to do is we need to import the second table ended in results.csv as a new table into your database. So again, we can follow the same steps as before: external data, new data source, from file, text file, browse. So the CSV file ending in results, press OK. Next, again, first row contains field names, so you can see these are field names, and then each row here is a record. If you go to advanced, okay, let's have a quick look to see what we need to do. So the first field, test date, needs to be displayed as a date. Okay, so that's fine, we can change the formatting later. The next field is text, and then start time should be date with time, which is fine. Then it should be text test version should be a number, which is fine, it's integer. And then the student ID should be text. So it's really important you guys do check to see these are all fine. Duration is date and time, which is fine. Then we got two integers, 1, 2. Let's see what pass mark is meant to be as well. Pass mark is also an integer. And then we got text. So actually there's been nothing here that we've changed. Just make sure the date order is correct, date, month and year. Next. Do we have a primary key? Not for this table. Okay, so no primary key. Next, finish. Okay, once we've imported this table in, guys, what we need to do now is to change the formatting. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong table, so the results table. Okay, so we need to look at the formatting. Okay, the first thing we need to look at is the test date needs to be displayed in this format here. So it's like the medium format. So 2 characters for day, 3 characters for the month, and then 2 characters for the year. So if you go to design view, date and time, change that to medium date. Let's see if this has worked. 17 March, yeah, 21, that's perfect. And the start time and the duration has to be displayed as hours and minutes. Whoops, let me just have a quick look. So hours and minutes, not including seconds. So right now we have seconds. So let's have a look at this start time. Just have a look here. Let's go for short time. Let's see how that looks. Yep, we got the hours and the minutes for short time. So hours and then minutes. Okay, we don't need to include seconds, and we can also do the same thing for the duration. Let's click here, format, short time. So that's the format which we need to include. Done. Okay, duration, hours and minutes, and then start time, hours and minutes as well. Okay, so I think that's done. I'm happy with that. There's nothing else to change. Save the data, and then evidence 5, place in your evidence document a screenshot showing the field names and data types used in the table. So again, we go to design view. Okay. And then we can take a picture of this. If you want to include additional screenshots, you can do. So this is evidence 5, isn't it? It's up to you guys. Let me just paste this in. For example, if you wanted to show a screenshot to show this has been formatted as medium date, you can do. But this will also show up in the report later, so it's fine. You don't need to include an extra screenshot, actually, it's fine. Right, so we've done that. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is to create a relationship. So to create a relationship, make sure you've closed down both tables. Okay, you go to database tools, relationships, and you add in both tables. Okay, extend both tables so all the fields are visible. Okay, so what do we need to do? So we need to create a one-to-many relationship between a trainee number, which was the primary key in the first table, okay, and a student ID in a results table, which is this field here. So this is a primary key which links to the foreign key. Okay, so it's a one-to-many relationship, and we're going to look at this in a second. Let's just click on create. Let's take our screenshots, guys, and then we'll have a look at the relationship in a second. So if I double click on this line here, I prefer to take this screenshot here for this point. So this is evidence 6. So we're showing the relationship between the two fields, and then we're showing a type of relationship which is one-to-many. So let me just take this print screen really quickly. And paste it in for evidence 6. Yep, it's nice and clear. Save the changes here. Press OK, close. Save the changes here as well. So if we go to the trainee, okay, so these are the different people, and obviously they have lots of different results. So one person here will have many different results. So each person is defined by their own trainee number. Okay, so one person has a number of results. This person only has 1. Roxana Bravo has 2. Okay, so the data is linked using this primary key, and then the student ID, which is here somewhere. Where's the student ID? This field here. Okay, so these two fields are linked together. Okay, so one person can have many results. That's the one-to-many relationship in this example. Okay, let's now look at question 19. So enter the following details as a new record in a trainee table. Sometimes when they ask you this sort of question, they may ask you to create a form, but here we're going to be entering directly into the trainee table. So let's go to the trainee table. Go to the bottom of the table. Okay, and we're going to enter these details. So when you do enter these details, guys, I can copy and paste because I'm using the PDF. You guys would obviously have to type this in. Make sure there's no spelling mistakes. Use capital letters when shown. So the family name is Schneider. Okay. Right, let me just type in the primary key first. I think there's some sort of error message. So this will make another trainee with a unique number. And then I'm hoping I can copy in the other details now. Schneider. First name was Lena, so I'll just type that in really quickly. Okay. Birth date. And she's a female, so let me just type that in really quickly. And what sort of job? Software developer. Okay, and the training provider is I can never say this, Torara Digital Academy. Okay, so when you are entering this data, guys, please make sure you don't make spelling mistakes. I'm okay because I'm obviously copying and pasting. Save the changes. Okay, done. I wonder if she has any results. She actually does, and there we go. Right, done. So I think this was the easy part of databases. Now it becomes, or we come to the more difficult part where we have to create a report. But before we make the report, we need to make the query. So these questions, guys, are where people get confused. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to annotate what we do first. So the question starts by saying, using the fields from the trainee table only, produce a report. And some people will go like this, I want to make a report straight away, report wizard. But before we get to the report, we need to make a query where we can filter the data. So I'm going to highlight what we're going to be doing in query. So in a query, guys, we normally search for the data. So if you see this color here, yellow, it's going to be a task that we do in a query. So here you can see the training provider needs to include a text digital. So what I need to do is, let me just get a text box. So if I click on comment, sorry guys, I don't know why my computer is lagging these days. Probably it's a sign I need a new computer. But anyway, let's keep going with this one. It's given me good service over the years. Right, so I'm just going to insert a text box here, guys. So typically when it says trainer provider includes the text digital, I'm going to look at the data in a second. Normally you would have to put stars on each side like this. Digital, okay, and let me double check something. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, so we need to just find anything in here that contains digital like this. So it could be at the start, it could be in the middle, it might be at the end perhaps. So if that's the case, guys, you need to put stars at the start and the front. The birth date is in 2003. So let me have a quick look at the birth date. So we need to find birthdays which are in 2003. I mean, the best way of doing this is, or one way of doing this, between, sorry guys, just have to think for a second, between the 1st of the 1st 2003, which includes that date, and so this is going to be the search criteria that we're going to enter, the last date of December 12, 2003, which will also, so if you were to enter this search criteria, guys, for this field, the dates would be found between these two values, including the first and the last date. Okay, done. So this is going to be done in a query. Also, what else we can do in a query is, if I go back to my highlighter pen, is to select the fields. Okay. The sort can be done in the report wizard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to green. Okay. The page orientation can also be done in a report wizard. To make it fit can be done in a report wizard. Now the title can be done in both, but I like to include a title when I make the query. And sometimes the title will automatically just be displayed in a report wizard as well. Your name, center number and candidate number, obviously that needs to be done in the report. So the first part is identifying what is done in the report and what is done in the query. Okay, so the query is where we can select the fields, we can enter the search criteria, okay, to filter the data. The report is how this information is going to be presented. So let's make a start, guys. We're going to just close down the table, go to create query wizard, and it's going to be based on only the trainee table. Okay, let me just change that to yellow. So first of all, we want to select the fields. So first name, family name, and do it in the order shown, guys. So first name, family name, birth date, trainee job, training provider. Next. Okay, here I always include a title which will be appearing at the top of the report. So let me just put this on. Okay, so you can see we've got the fields that we selected. We have 500 records. If we went straight into the report at this point, guys, you'd have so many pages you'd be printing off. So The next thing that we need to do now is, you can see we've got the field, the new query that's been created, the same title that will be at the top of the report, the fields that we selected. The next thing that we need to do is enter our search criteria. So the first thing that we need to search for is the training provider includes the text digital. So yeah, so we need to search for anything that contains digital. So we need to put stars at the front and at the end of digital. So if you go to design view, underneath training provider, type in star digital star. Make sure you don't make any spelling mistakes. Go to run, and you can see digital at the end, digital in the middle, at the beginning. That's done. Down to 131 records. Next thing we need to do is find a birth date in 2003. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste this in. So between, whoopsie daisy, what am I doing there? So this is why it's useful to annotate your paper before you start the task, because then you can work things out beforehand and it makes your life so much more easier. So for the birth date, what I'm going to do is just going to copy that information in. So you want to search in between these two dates, okay, between this date and this date in 2003, so the first and last date. If you click off it, you can see hashtags, which is fine. You go to run, and you can see all of the dates include 2003. If you click down here, guys, you can see we've got the first date in 2003 and the last date in 2003 as well. And we're down to 32 records. You can save the changes. And we've actually done all of the questions for the query part, so we can highlight this as complete. Okay. We still may need to look at the order. Okay. Obviously we need to make sure the data is not grouped. So now it's time to create the report. So we go to create report wizard using this query here, using these fields. Yes. Next. Next. Is there a sort? So sorts the data into ascending order of training provider. So this is now done obviously in the report wizard. So let's change this color to green. Ascending order of training provider. Okay, ascending, that's fine. Next. Has a page orientation of portrait. Yeah, that's fine. The title's still here, so no need to copy in anything from here again. Sometimes you may need to if you're using fields from different tables, but title's still there, capital letters, spelling is the same since I copy and pasted. Finished. Okay guys, when you get to this point here, what you need to do is to make sure the fields are in the right order, all of the data is shown in full, okay, and it fits on a single page. So let's do that really quickly then, guys. So to fix this, we go to design view, or layout view actually, and to select the heading and the data you can press control. But what I'm going to do first of all is I need to put the fields back in the right order. So if I press control and then select the data as well, let's just move this across like this. I want to make some space for myself, guys. So since we sorted on this field here, it's shown as the first field, but we know we need to put the fields back in the right order. So the first field that we had was first name. Just double check to see nothing's cut off, that's fine. First name, family name, and then we had the date. Okay, let me just move this across. Okay, so we got the fields back in the right order. I'm just checking to see if all of the data is shown in full, which it is. Okay, so the fields are in the right order. First name, family name. Let me double check. First name, family name. and let me just move that down slightly. Birth date, trainee job, yeah, and then training provider. So this, you can see the sort was done on this field here. So it starts from C going all the way down to T. Okay, done. Okay, so we've got the data sorted, pages orientation, everything fits on a single page. Let me just go to print preview. Let's have a quick look. Yep, page 1 of 1, I can see at the bottom. That's fine. And there's nothing overlapping, everything's shown. And the last thing that we need to do here, let me just highlight this part as done as well. Has your name, centre number and candidate number on the report. It doesn't say where, you can have it anywhere you want. So what I'll do is I'll just pull it at the top somewhere. So obviously when it prints out, normally the person who's looking to hand out the work, they look at the top for your name. So if you go to design view, you can add a label. So it should be your name, centre number and candidate number. So there's my name. Centre number I'll use 5678 and candidate number 1234. And again you can go to print preview and you can check, and I'm happy with that, and you can send it off to the printer. If you do get it back from the printer and you do notice there's any mistakes, guys, then obviously you can go back and print it again. Okay, let's now move on to the second question where we have to create a query and a report. So we're going to do the same thing. This question here is a little bit more complicated actually, because we have to create a new field which is going to be some sort of calculation. So question 21, it says using fields now from both tables. Okay, let's just highlight this. Produce a tabular report. But as mentioned, before we can make the report, we need to make a query which is going to filter the data. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do in the query is we're going to select the fields like we did in the previous task. So let me highlight this in yellow. Then we're going to enter the search criteria. So test or select the records where the test day is Saturday or Sunday. So if I just go to test day, so yeah, literally for the search criteria, guys, this is what we're going to be typing in, Saturday or Sunday. If you want to add another day, you just simply add or and then the next day. So I'm not going to write anything other than that because this is literally what we're going to be doing. The mark achieved is 25 or more. So let's see if I can find the mark achieved. So what we need to do for that is we need to, let me just get a text box, write it like this. So more than or equal to 25. So mark achieved is 25 or more. So that's the search criteria for that. Okay. In this example here, guys, what we need to do also is we need to create a new field, and a new field is going to be called %_mark. So I'm just going to write the name of a new field here, %_mark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a whole question out. So it contains a new field called %_mark, which is calculated at runtime. This field will calculate the mark underscore achieved so it's going to be this field here. I know it's a field because it's italic. You can see this is italic, which suggests it's a field, divided by total marks. Okay, and total marks is this field here. So we're basically dividing these two. Okay, and it's going to be displayed as a percentage. So how do we write this out as a formula? So when you write the name of the new field, you need to write colon. Okay, and if you're using an existing field, you need to use the square brackets and then write the name of the existing field, making sure you're not making any spelling mistakes. Oops, I am making spelling mistakes there. So okay, so that's the first field. and then slash is going to be divided by total marks. So you can see both fields are in square brackets. And I will show you what happens if you do make a spelling mistake. Okay, done. So that's the query part. Okay, so let me just highlight this. So in a query, we will select the fields, we'll enter the search criteria, we will create the new field, which will be a calculation, and we will make sure it is displayed as a percentage with no decimal places. Okay, once we've done that, then we need to make the report. So in the report, we need to do the sort. So let me just change the color of this to green, so we can use green for the report. We need to make sure it's landscaped. We need to make sure it fits on a single page. This is going to be the title, which if you saw the previous example, when I was saving a query, I used the same title for the query name that will also be shown at the top of the report. So this can be done in both query and a report wizard, and you'll see why in a second. And the last few parts, we are going to be doing it in a report. Okay, and you'll see later on what those parts will be. Okay, so let's get started then with this question. Again, before we can make, let's close that. Before we can make the report, we need to make the query. So if I go to my database, let's close down anything we've got open from before, save any changes. We need to create a new query. Okay, we're going to be selecting fields from both tables. So the fields that we need are first name, family name. So we need to make sure you select from the tables, not the query. So first name, family name, subject, test date, test day, start time, mark achieved, this is a field that we'll be creating, so it doesn't exist yet, and result. Okay, so let me just get result in. So we also need to include a new field that we haven't created yet. So when you selected the fields, then what you need to do is you need to include the title that's going to be at the top of the report. And I always like to include the same name for that, or let me say that again, I like to save the query with the same name that will be appearing at the top of the report. Okay, it just helps to show me that this query was for this report. Okay, finish. Okay, so we are starting with, we have a total of 1,000 plus records here. So again, if you went straight to your report, you'll be printing off all day long with different pages, lots of different pages. Alright, so after we've done that, let's enter some search criteria. So the test day is on Saturday or Sunday. So test day, so we're going to search on it by this field. Saturday or Sunday, is that correct? Let me double check. Yep, Saturday or Sunday. Make sure you've written it into this row here for the criteria. Saturday or Sunday, that looks fine. Double click down, you can see we've got them two options, and we're now down to 80 records. The next thing that we need to do is check to see if the mark is 25 or more, so we need to use this criteria here. So mark achieved, this one here, yeah. It's greater than or equal to 25. Run. And we're now down to 40 records, and we can click down here. So it starts from 25 and it goes up to 45. That's fine. Okay, save the changes. Okay, so we've done the search criteria. Done. We selected the fields. Okay, let's make the new field now. Okay, And a new field is going to be created in the design view if you come to the end. And remember, so this field will calculate the mark achieved divided by the total marks. So it's going to be this one here divided by this total field. The total field I don't think we've added into the query. No, it's not part of the query, so that's fine, but it's still a field, so we need to make sure we include it into square brackets. So what I'm going to do, guys, now is I'm going to copy and paste this. Sorry for the coughing, I'm not feeling well at the moment, so my apologies for the coughing. So what we have is the name of the new field, and then a colon. If we are using an existing field, it needs to be in square brackets. So it's this field divided by this field. Let's go to run, and you can see we have some answers, but the answers needs to be shown as a percentage with no decimal places. So you need to open up the property sheet, go to format and choose percent. Let me check to see if there's any decimal places. We still have some decimal places, and we need to select 0 for decimal places. Go to run. That's been changed. Perfect. So I think we've pretty much done the query task, and now we can move forward to creating the report. Okay, so to create the report, let's just save the changes to the query. We can go to create report wizard and select the name of the query, so weekend testing. Here's all of the fields. Okay, next. Now if I continue like this, guys, this data is going to be grouped. Let me show you what I mean by grouping. This is something we want to avoid, but it's going to be grouped by the first name and family name. So if I go keep clicking on next, I'm going to come back and redo this in a second. Let's see if there's any grouping. So you can see Eleanor, there's 2 records for Eleanor, and it's been grouped by her name. This is something we want to avoid. Okay, so I'm going to close this down, delete this, and we can do this again. Okay, so let's delete and create the report wizard. Okay, weekend testing. Next. So I'm just going to click on the second table, so all of the fields are like this. This would mean there will not be any grouping by any fields. Right, so in the report wizard we can sort the data into ascending order of test day. So let me just change the color now to this green. So test day will be ascending. Yep, keep that ascending. And descending order of subject. Okay, next, when you get to here, let's see what the page orientation is. So the page is going to be landscape. Next, so the title has disappeared, but we can include weekend testing again. Make sure you're not making spelling mistakes, you're including capital letters when shown. Finish. So you can see there's no grouping of data. All of the records appear on individual lines. Obviously the fields are in the wrong order because of the sort. Let's have a look at the title. Include only the text weekend testing as a title displayed in a larger font size, fully visible at the top. Yeah, that's done now. Now what we need to do is to put the fields back in the right order, okay, as shown here. So first name and then family name. To fix the order, we can go to layout view. Okay, and you can see the names have come after the fields that we've sorted on. So what you can do is, if you press Control and to select the heading of the fields, you can select the data below the field as well. So I'm just going to move this information across just for now to create a bit of space so we can put things back in the right order. Okay, let me just move this across like this. Okay, so now I've got a bit of space to work with. The first field is first name and family name. So let's move the first name across here. Then we go down and see if anything is cut off. Nope, all data is showing. Family name. Okay, then we can go down again and see if any data is cut off. All looks fine to me. Subject and test date. Okay, so we can move the subject into the right place, and again check to see if anything is cut off. Everything is shown in full. Test day. Okay, so we've done that. Test date. Sorry, is subject, test date. That's not right then, is it? So let me just move that. It's a good thing I checked that. It was a really easy mistake to have made. Okay, so subject, test date, test day. Start time. I think everything should be in the right order now. Let's have a quick look. Mark achieved. So this part has taken a while, guys. You just have to be a little bit patient when you are putting the fields back in the right order. You don't want to make silly mistakes. Just move that down slightly. Okay, so mark achieved, and then there's 2 more fields to go, so let's have a quick look. Percentage mark, and then result. So result is the last field. This is a new field that we created and it's gone towards the end, so let's just put that before the result. And there we go. We have all of the data shown in full, nothing's cut off. Okay, that's that done. Fantastic. So the data labels displayed in full. Yes, we've done it now in the report. It fits on a single page wide. And what you can do, guys, at this point is you can go to the print preview and you can zoom out and you can have a look. So all the fields fit 1 page wide. There may be records going onto the second page, but we need to make sure all of the fields fit 1 page going across. Okay, that's what that basically means. What you don't want is something like this. Let me show you in design view, for example. You don't want something like this, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's say you've extended this by mistake, I don't know, like this, and then if you go to print preview, you can see some of it comes onto the second page. We don't want that. We want the fields to fit 1 page going across. So I'm just going to press Ctrl Z. It's not letting me undo. Okay, no problem. Just move these back where they were. And close this like this. Print preview. There we go. 1 page across again. Okay, so we've done that part now. Calculate the number of tests and display this as an integer below the subject column at the end of the report. So where's the subject column? Is that one there? So what we can do is we can go to layout view. We can click on the subject column and we can do a simple count. So if I go to design, totals, count records. We should have a number at the bottom, 40, yes. Okay. Has a label total tests completed to the left of this value. So then what we can do is we can go to design view. To the left of that count we can just add a label, so report design labels, and there's the label, so it's to the left. Okay, make sure you check to see if it's to the left, or sometimes it can be to the right. Display only your name, center number and candidate number in a footer so it appears in the same position on every page. Make sure no other data is displayed in the footer. So here's a page footer here. So remember we said we got 2 pages. Let's get rid of these pieces of data here. So if you put something in the report footer, it only ends up on the last page. But if you want something on the report footer, on the footer on every page, you need to place it in the page footer. So let me insert my name here. And I think it's asking for the center number, so let me double check. Center and then candidate number. Sorry guys, I do apologize for the coughing. So for the center number we can use 5, 6, 7, 8. Candidate number 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to show you an example. If I just put something in report footer, okay, let's go to print preview. If it's in a let me show you again. If it's in a page footer, something's in a page footer, it will appear on every page, so you can see first and second page. But if something's in a report footer, it only appears once at the end of the report. Okay, so that's the difference between the page footer and the report footer. So we wanted our name on every page. Okay, I think we have done this part now. Let's just see if there's anything. Obviously you print off the report at this stage, check for your mistakes. For the evidence, we need to place in your evidence document a screenshot showing a database formula used to calculate the number of tests. So that's evidence 7. Here's evidence 7. And what we can do is we can just take a snip of this. Okay, copy, paste, and you can resize it, and then we are done. So make sure you got a nice clear screenshot. Save your evidence document, save your database, and we have finished the database section. Please drop your comments below guys, like and share, and good luck in your exams if you have exams coming up soon. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.